Good evening, and thank you for tuning into the Safekeeping Conversation series. It's that time. My name is Tess Arlo, and I'm here to try and bring you conversations around collecting and ideas around collecting every Sunday between 9 and 10 p.m. So, this week we got a very special guest. A friend of mine, we met maybe sometime last year, and we met actually in a studio visit, and then we were able to keep in touch, and we've been sending each other fashion pics and fits and some memes and things like that, and I'm very blessed to have him here with me today. And without further ado, let's bring him on. What comes after Trillionaire? What comes after Trillionaire? Oh God, the button. What comes after... Oh!
And love notes.
Yo,
How does this mean?
you look
Oh
really
yeah,
different. Oh, what's going on, man?
I'm good. I haven't
Holy
seen.
shit.
Yeah, I actually had to what do you call it? Install Instagram on my phone.
What?
So yeah,
What do you mean? Did you want to install it?
yeah, I took it off. Jeff Bezos,
Jeff,
Kish, what up?
what?
Yo,
Why?
there's a
Why'd
lot.
you? Why'd you want to install it?
I mean, I don't really use Instagram. It's very distracting.
You were running a whole conversation series.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like I was actually using it for a thing, and then like once I was done using it for a thing, I was just done with it.
Is that why you're not responding to my DMs anymore?
No, I do. I have a plugin. I have a Chrome plugin on my laptop that I use to respond to emails. I've definitely responded to all your messages. I'm actually scrolling it right now,
Just checking.
and yeah, there was a like on a story reply 2 days ago. So just to set the record straight for the internet.
Yes, yes, yes. You are
How
always
you doing?
gracious, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I had a good Sunday actually.
What you do today?
We actually went out as a family today for the first time in
Shout out to families. Where'd you guys go?
we went to the Grange Park.
Okay.
It's nothing like Trinity Bellwoods.
Yeah.
I think there were maybe like, I want to say 100 people in the whole
Hmm.
park.
Yeah.
A lot of space, and our baby's discovering grass. Not
Yeah.
not 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 grass, but
Yeah. Shout out to grass. Yeah.
and
Yo,
so he's like,
honestly, like, I think that if all the babies discovered grass mad early in their career, it would just be like a way chiller society. Like if everybody was just like if everybody discovered grass in a very managed, um, kind of like super responsible way. All right, like in the same way that motherfuckers discovered smoking cigarette,
right.
which I skipped because that shit is disgusting.
Hmm.
Imagine if kids discovered smoking weed instead. But that's what's gonna happen. Like that's how it's gonna be. Because
I
you
think that's how it is now, right?
no. But what I'm saying is like everybody, because what's gonna happen is yo, there's a weed holding emoji. I didn't know that. Wow, that's so,
Is it? It's like this, but I guess that works.
yeah, I like that. No, yeah, because I know this, which is
Okay.
it's a Mario, right?
It's
But I've never seen this one. Yeah, Chef's
right.
Kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, if they discovered weed mad early, then everybody would do way more chill, and that's what's about to happen because these kids are gonna be all right. So like these kids are gonna be Cardi, what up? Toronto in the building. Shout out to
Yo,
everybody from Toronto.
Cardi.
These kids are gonna be they're gonna have the edibles around the house, and then you're gonna be like 12 years old. You get into the edibles. It's like you're gonna have a whole generation of kids who are gonna be in their late. Dr. Neil Iwer George, what's the deal? Um, St. Louis, what up? So, Nalini, what up? So the thing about it is this, right? You're gonna have this whole era of kids in their late teens, early 20s going like, yo, like what was the first time you got high? Like, you
Mm,
know, like instead of being like, when was the first time you got drunk? Because our
yeah,
conversations are always like, yo, what was the first time you got drunk?
right.
But the kids that are coming up now, like your little baby and like let's say like kids that are my niece and nephew's age, like 4 or 5 years old, by the time they hit like early teens, they're
Yeah.
gonna be getting into the Mr. Iowa George, we have important things to handle. So I'll link this soon. We have very important things to handle.
I feel like this
Um,
IG is your collection of shout outs. That's what
so
we're gonna talk about.
so so this is the deal. Now that's that guy. He's a very talented musician. He's a amazing entrepreneur. He's always been a great spirit. He's a super talent from Trinidad. So I have to give him. I have to show
Have
my
to,
love and
have to,
respect.
have to.
You know, I have to shout in that Iowa George. No, what I was saying is these kids that are like 4 or 5 years now, by the time they get to their teens or preteens, they're going to be getting into the edibles, right?
Yeah,
So then by the time they hit their late teens, early 20s, the conversation is going to be around like, yo, so like, what was the first time you got high?
yeah,
Not like for us, it's like, oh, what was the first time you got drunk? And the crazy thing about that is that the first time you got drunk is such a terrible experience. Nobody has a positive recollection of the first time they got drunk.
right.
But
Well,
you think about it.
I had a great time.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you were like, but then you threw up and you were like hungover the next day. No,
I mean, I think the first time I was drunk, I wasn't like wasted.
but you see, that's the thing. The first time I was drunk, I was probably like 7 years old. You know what I mean? Because you know
7 years old.
your dad's like have some of this. You know what I mean? So no, I'm talking about the first time you get wasted.
Right,
It's
right.
not a
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not a it's not
wasted
a
for sure.
it's not a positive. It's not a positive experience. It's not an
No,
empowering experience. It's
no.
disempowering. So
Right.
think about the kids that are going to be in their teens getting high and
Mhm.
looking back on that and having a positive empowering experience about the first time they try this psychotropic substance
Right.
as opposed to us, like all we got was to fucking get high off some cheap, some disgusting ass white rum or some shit. But
Hmm.
now these kids are gonna have this crazy out of body experience, just like, oh, like shit, like I ate all my mom's 20,000 milligram chocolate candy.
Chocolate, yeah,
You know what I
chocolate
mean? Yeah,
cookie.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Chris, 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 this is real talk. Your daughter is gonna go through this too. It's funny, like everybody's kids are gonna go through this. Like it's not gonna be anymore about like the first time I went out and got drunk with my friends. It's gonna be like in fact, I hope that by the time it gets to like my kids, I don't even know them yet. But by the time it gets to like my kids, it's gonna be like the first time,
Wait, who's
you
pregnant?
know, so nobody. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Maybe they're out there. If anybody on Instagram has any record doing it or otherwise of any of my offspring, please contact me directly by email. Tesalo
What's the
at
settlement? What's the settlement?
patel.com. No, it's not. It's not a supplement. It's just like I need that information if it exists. That's what I'm saying. No, but I'm saying by the time my kids come around, it's gonna be like, yo, we had this psychedelic experience. Like we were able to.
Yo,
So
I wouldn't know because I don't do drugs. I say no to drugs.
yo, fuck that. That's retarded. Let me tell you why. Because Canada actually has a fucking psychedelics institute, so you lose. All right. But what I'm saying is, think about being 12, 13 years old and going through those awkward years,
Yeah,
but also being able to go through a psychedelic experience that
right.
allows you to dissolve and separate from your ego at 12 years old. And then
But
you
your
just like,
your
oh, like,
brain
I'm
is your
chilling.
brain is not fully functioned at that time though, right?
Some of these niggas are fucking 50 years old and their brain is fully functioning. So we're talking about two different things. You understand? I'm not
Stop
saying that
it.
psychedelics are
Stop
gonna have
it.
psychedelic. I'm not saying that psychedelics are gonna have uh, psychedelics don't cause brain damage like that. Like when you use language like that, you imply the opposite. So it's
No, but
like,
it's not brain damage, but it's like there's some like I drank coffee super young, right? And I feel
yeah,
like if I hadn't drank coffee when I was like 12 or something, I'd be like 7 feet tall. But now I'm like a
No, no.
measly, I'm a measly 6 foot tall. You know
Yo,
what I mean?
you're a measly Asian stereotype. Like that's okay. Like all you gotta do is you gotta embrace that. You gotta breathe that in and
No,
say
but
this
it's
is
the
who I
coffee.
am.
It's the coffee.
I'm
Because
a I'm
otherwise
a
I'd be Yao Ming.
I'm a little Asian man. I got the Asian glasses. I wear all black.
Yo,
You know, this is.
hold on, hold
Yo,
on.
are you saying that coffee made you wear those glasses?
Yo, you're my guest right now, man. Don't slander me like that. Come
No,
on,
I'm
man.
not. I'm saying I'm here for you. I'm here
Easy,
for
be
you.
easy.
No, I'm saying no. I'm here for you. No, don't be mad. Don't be mad at coffee or or having a alter ego experience in the
Yeah.
formative years. You know,
No,
that's
I
all
know,
I'm
I
saying.
know. I'm
Like
joking.
if
I'm totally joking.
like yeah, I wish oh, this girl said she had coffee at 10 years old and she's only 4 for 11. Yo,
See?
I'm making it official. You know what? I take back I would like to retract my last statement. You know, I don't want to sound as if I was, saying anything inflammatory. So I'm making it official. It is official that if you drink coffee
Mm,
before you are 12 years old, you only get about 4 for 11.
yeah.
The drugs are not as good as they used to be. But what I'm saying is the drugs are not as good as they used to be because people don't need to be doing synthetic drugs. I'm saying like you can hit some mushrooms. You could grow mushrooms in your backyard,
Like the
right?
enoki mushrooms.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is if you want to have a psychedelic experience, right? And separate yourself from your ego at 12 years old, you can have, you're gonna shrink. Anybody that starts drinking coffee at 5 foot 9, you're gonna be a midget fuck by the time Corona gets finished with this planet. Yo, they gonna put out a vaccine for Corona,
Yo,
and your
don't
motherfucking
did
still gonna
you
be
did you
short.
just call a 5'9" midget?
No, he said that he just started drinking coffee and he's 5 foot 9.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but no, we don't use midget. I don't know if that's a good word, bro.
No, no, yo, you said it. I didn't say it.
Nah. Um,
Nah, we're gonna edit this. We're gonna edit
yeah,
this in
yeah, yeah.
post.
Good thing there's no tape, you know. But yeah,
Yo, catch it on YouTube. I'll send everyone the
that
link.
yeah. So yeah, drugs are bad, but a lot of drugs are bad just because you know what are they being used for? What are we putting them in our bodies for? You know, are
I,
we are
I think
we
that's I think that's a lot of it is like the intention and like the all the self-medicating. Um, but it's like if there's a good intentionality behind it.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing that so much of what's your shit, Mariah Carey? Let me see.
Were you trying to call?
Is that a reprint?
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
okay,
no,
all good.
it's a vintage, but it's like 90. It's not like one
Is
of
it,
those.
is,
It's not a
is it?
single stitch.
It's not single stitch.
No.
All right. See, so does that make me a collector now?
Well, after you're done talking about how weed is so important to you, I would like to get to your collection.
Yo, I'm not ever gonna stop talking about how important it is that we continue to reconnect with the trees. With yo, honestly,
Yeah. Are you
that
gonna
might
show me?
sound.
Are you gonna show me your weed paraphernalia collection?
Nah, I'm not like that kind of guy. You know, what I'm saying, I just feel like it's weird when you think about the fact that um, from the dawn of human existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
There has been a connection between 30 seconds for Luanda, Angola. What the fuck is this?
That was in the question mode,
Is
so
that
I
an
just
ad?
popped it up. No, no, it's
Oh,
someone
oh,
just
30 seconds,
entered
30
it.
seconds for Luanda, Angola. Yo, I'm actually working with an artist from Angola right now. I like Angola. Um, I never been. What were we talking about?
We were getting to your collection.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Go, yeah, go on.
No, I don't know. What were we actually
This is
talking about?
a collection conversation series where we talk about
Yeah.
people's collections, and you've
Okay,
been
I
going off
understand
about
that. There's
trees.
no there's no need to be facetious. I understand that. So I need to really kind of like deep dive this
Oh my god.
this idea of collecting.
Oh,
What I'm
okay,
saying is
okay,
like
okay. Let's go.
how do you, as a chair, like how do you define that?
So I leave it open. Like I sent you an email, but obviously you didn't read it because it answers that
This
question.
is okay. Okay, I think you need to let go of the snark so that we can have an honest
No, no,
conversation.
no, no. Okay,
So
it's not
regardless
snark.
of whether I read the email or not,
It's not
I'm
snark.
trying to unpack an idea here. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing is this, right?
It's not
Okay, so
snark.
since
It's not snark.
let's
I
go
was
down this
trying to be
road.
funny. I was trying to be
Let's
funny.
let's go down a road of maximum passive aggression,
Okay,
right?
okay,
Now,
okay.
uh, a collection
Yes.
is implies some type of physical entity, right?
Not
I have a
necessarily.
I have to the lay person. If you ask the lay person about a collection,
Okay, okay,
right?
yes.
So the thing about it is that I have a big issue with the word collection
Okay.
because having a collection of something implies that you're a collector, and I feel like there's very little emotion conveyed by the idea of me being a collector
Why?
because I could be a garbage collector. The word itself,
Okay.
the word collector does not convey any sense of emotion. You know, it's like, I could be an aficionado, you
Okay.
understand? I could be a lover, you
Okay.
know. The reason I see that, I take umbrage to the fact that I see friends of mine who are sneaker aficionados, you know, shout out to Kish Cash. And they have phenomenal collections, right? They have a phenomenal archive
Hmm.
and they have a comprehensive understanding of every item that exists within that archive.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that is the historical record of every piece that exists within that archive, and an additional historical record of every piece that exists outside of that archive.
I actually like that word a lot, purveyor.
Purveyor.
Yeah.
But you see, that's the thing about it is that I feel like it is far more honest to consider oneself and others around oneself as purveyors. Because the thing about it is this, right? That's why I come back to the idea of the word collection and collector involving something that is physical or tangible. Because if if I am a exactly collection doesn't necessarily have passion, because if I could have a collection
Hmm.
and not have passion because I could just be, you know, I get some money, you know, I sell two, three startup, I have, you know, 12, 15, you know, $125 million in the bank. I go and start a collection. What the
But
fuck is that?
yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't spend that much money on a collection if you weren't passionate about it, no?
But this one saying to you that I don't really feel that the idea of having there's two sides to it, you know. There's the actual physical thing, and then there's the emotional feeling that you attribute to that physical thing. And the thing
Okay.
about it is that as a purveyor, you know, um, I could be a fan of something, right? And
Hmm.
have the detailed understanding
Yeah.
and the comprehensive historical knowledge, and not necessarily physically own that thing, you know. So then the act of physically owning it almost becomes inconsequential.
Right.
So if you are a man that if you know from the time you were 14, you were 12 years old, 11 years old, 9 years old, 8 years old, you
Hmm.
like Ferraris, right?
Yeah.
And you grew up always knowing about Ferraris, and you know all of the details of all the different models and all the special editions and the engines and the exhaust and the
Hmm.
body type and so on, right? By the time you get to own your first Ferrari, okay,
Hmm.
at 25 years old, at 40 years old, at 50 years old, right?
Hmm.
By the time you get to buy one that's 10 years old and in the six-figure range, you know, something that is far more affordable than what you pay for it all the lot, right?
Okay.
Does
That's
that,
very specific. Okay.
no, one thing is, let me say, okay, so let me say okay, I like Porsches, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't buy a brand new Porsche out the lot, you
Right.
know, for that same reason. So what I'm saying is like, let's say you have this comprehensive understanding of this thing, and then you go now and say, I'm going to own one, just one.
Yeah.
I feel like you are far more the definition of the conventional collector than somebody who might have a dozen Ferraris and just be buying them shits because he got some bread. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, we're arguing semantics at this point, right? Like, I could say to you that is an enthusiast, like
Okay.
someone who knows in and out like everything, but it just so happens that they don't have the money to have a Porsche collection or a Ferrari collection.
So that's fair. So but the guy who has 25 of those cars, he's a collector.
Well, I mean, he's literally collecting.
All right.
I mean, I'm not, like, the thing is, when I said collecting, I was not putting a value judgment on it. You know what I mean?
No,
it's like,
no. I just asking for your active feedback. So he's a collector because he's collecting.
Well, I mean, in the literal sense of collecting.
Okay.
Like, he's accumulating.
So let me ask you what I expect will be the most important question tonight.
Let's go.
You want to sell to the collector or to the enthusiast?
Okay, this is the answer.
There
are levels to collectors. So in the same way that, I don't think, we had a comment that said collectors don't have passion. I don't think that's necessarily true, because it's true that there are collectors that do things just to like flip.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are collectors that are a combination of collectors and enthusiasts. And then there are enthusiasts, like people like for me, for example, in my current state, I would say I am a art enthusiast. I can't buy $100,000 painting, but I know about that work. I'm aware that it exists and where it's moving and who has it and stuff like that. But I can't call myself a collector because I don't collect that work.
Okay.
In that sense, at that scale. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you can still be a collector and be passionate, and you can be a collector and be, just doing it for the money, but you're still collecting, right? You're still accumulating.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're asking, like, who would I rather have, a collector or an enthusiast?
No. Okay, you answer the question in your way.
No,
and
yeah. What I would say to you is, like, I would like to have the collector who is an enthusiast.
Okay.
Because an enthusiast, an enthusiast may not be able to afford the work, quite frankly.
Your enthusiast only have one Porsche he buy that when he buy it was 10 years old, and that's what I'm saying to you. So and again, I'm not here to correct you, but it's a contradiction, right? Because you call the guy with the knowledge and the love for the product, right? Who has a minimum number of said product, an enthusiast, and then you call the guy who has very little knowledge for the product, but has the resources to afford several of them, a collector.
But so I'm not placing a value judgment. I'm not saying that the collector is better than the enthusiast.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, asking you which one you want to sell to, who you're creating, who you're gonna create work for.
I'm creating work for me.
Okay, but who you selling work for? Who you want to sell your work to?
Well, I want to sell my work to someone who can appreciate the work.
Okay, so we have two sides: the collector, the enthusiast.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's not mutually exclusive. It could be a combination of two.
Okay, but you are the one who made it mutually exclusive. Because when I gave the example, I asked you, would you call that person a collector? And you said no, you would call them an enthusiast. And then I asked you, if you went to the person who had 12 Ferraris, are they collecting? And then you said yes, because they're collecting.
Because if that person who understands Porsches or Ferraris inside out, but can only afford one, I'm just saying this in the most literal sense.
Yeah.
One is not a collection. One is, you know, but
Okay.
they've
Okay, so
collected.
that's what I'm saying. So you realize that you're setting a you are the one that is setting a very clear boundary between the two spaces, right?
I just mean in the sense that a collector has perhaps a focused attention towards building, I mean, for lack of a better word, a collection, like a series of things within that genre.
Yeah. And the enthusiast only has one.
Okay, enthusiast. Okay, maybe
I'm
enthusiast
not
is
trying to
not a
make it
good word.
empirical. I'm just asking. Yeah.
No,
I'm
no,
not trying to make it empirical.
enthusiast is not a good word because I think it sounds almost degrading.
Yeah, because it is.
I I personally don't think it is, but
But you just
maybe
said it sounds good.
in a monetary sense, it sounds degrading. Like
Uh-huh.
you
Well,
can't afford it, and therefore you are an enthusiast. But that's
yeah.
only if you're looking at it through a capitalistic like lens, right?
Hmm.
Because who's to say that an enthusiast is not better than a collector who is unfeeling?
Hmm.
I'm not placing that that judgment or that value judgment on either or.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about it in terms of like what one is capable of doing, right?
Yeah.
um, I think what you said earlier about an aficionado, maybe that will like level it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, I really do think that's just we're just talking about language at this point, right?
Okay. I think that is, and that's why this was the first question that I asked, because I think that we have to work very hard to define the language and ensure that the language is clear,
Mm-hmm.
because the language, how big can a collection get before you can no longer care for all the parts, but going to care for it as only a whole?
Oh,
What we collecting? USB drives?
yo, come on.
A fucking transform Voltron out of USB drives? I don't know. If we're talking about paintings,
Yes.
but yeah, but also to like some of that shit you get bored. That's why you have a whole collection, right? So you're never really gonna think of the collection as one thing. Like nobody goes like, oh, like I really enjoy my sneaker collection, and think of it in their mind as one single physical entity, because they enjoy it because they can go digging in the archive and pull out some crazy footscapes that they bought in Tokyo in 1996 that nobody else had. You know what I mean? So it's like you if you are as you said, as passionate about it as you should be, then you will have a particular appreciation for every single part of that collection, even as you
Right.
consider it in it as a general whole. And again, that comes back to what I was saying about being very clear in the language, because the challenge in it with the industry is that it's a rich people's game, right? Buying art is a rich people's. No, I talking specifically to her question. She asked me a question, right?
But she wasn't
She
talking
asked,
about art though.
well, I talking about art. I'm saying I'm answering specifically to her question,
Okay,
right?
okay.
Buying art is a rich people's version of buying sneakers, right? So I might have a sneaker collection, and my sneaker collection is of value to me, and it is of intrinsic value to me, and of extrinsic value to me, and it is of extrinsic value to my peers. So the people that are in the sneaker community, the people that are on online forums, on Instagram, etc., etc., etc. Right? So I derive value, both intrinsic and extrinsic, from the participants of my community. Right?
Mm-hmm.
My community don't care about contemporary art, right?
Mm.
So I can have a comprehensive sneaker collection, or comprehensive fucking Barry White tour T-shirt collection, and that will not be of any type of extrinsic or intrinsic value to anybody outside of the community,
Okay.
right? And it's the same challenge within the contemporary art scene, because I can have the finest collection of Caribbean art, in the Western Hemisphere. But if you're interested in fucking Michael Jordan sneakers, you don't care about that, you know?
Mm.
So that's what I'm saying, that it's not necessarily a case of being able to solely consider the entire thing as one physical entity. I think that when you get to a point in your evolution as a collector of things, right? And you get to a point in your evolution of your collector as a collector of things, and you get to a point where you have also collected the knowledge associated with those things, then it is possible to transcend and consider your collection as a whole, right? Because then you also become a part of that whole. So then if I'm coming to somebody like Cash and saying, well, okay, cool, this guy has a comprehensive sneaker collection. He also has a comprehensive understanding of every piece. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so you look at a car, and a car is a whole thing, right? But you will have people who have a car as a whole thing, and they just know they jump in and they turn the car and they drive to work. And then you'll have people who will look at a car as a whole thing, and they will also have a comprehensive understanding of every little piece, and they understand where the battery is and where this is. For me, cars is fucking magic. All I know is that you turn a key or you press a button and the car go, right? It have fellas in here who know the details, the inner workings, the intricacies, the thing, that this engine, that blah blah blah. I just know you press a button, the top come down, you press a fucking pedal, you shoot out, you drive like the fucking wind, right? So if you get to a point in your I wanna call it a practice, right? Because I think that if you look at it as a practice, then you, as someone who is creating work which will be considered for collecting, can now say, I want to align myself with people who have a heightened sense of their practice. I want to align myself with people who have evolved their practice to the point where either the win-win situation is people who have a comprehensive knowledge of both, but you want to align yourself with people who either have a comprehensive knowledge of that which I am creating, right? Whether it is vintage T-shirts or watches or cars or analog gear, whatever it is.
Right.
Or I want to align myself with someone who has one is quality and one is quantity, who has a comprehensive number of the things that I'm trying to create. And I understand that in so doing, there's a little bit of a compromise that needs to take place, you know? Because as collectors, there's also a little bit of a compromise that needs to take place for us. Because if we collect single stitch torties, and all of a sudden Mr. fucking Kanye West show up in, you know, a 1997 Shania Twain, now you can't find that same 1997 Shania Twain that you used to pay $25 for, because now it's $250. Right? So in a sense, I kind of want that as a collector of vintage teas, because then the whole market spikes. Or I correct myself, or there is the perception that the whole market will spike based upon this isolated.
No, it will spike because of demand.
That's what I'm saying. There is an understanding. There's an understanding that it will spike, right? So for me, I see the larger, let's call it the macroeconomics of it. But in the moment, I feel the smaller microeconomics of it, because I am so emotionally attached to this environment. So then I'm like, oh fuck, you know, like that guy just sent out the price of all the fucking Shania Twain t-shirts. And I actually really like Shania Twain.
Yo, Pride of Canada. After Celine.
Yeah. Oh shit, she is Canadian. Yeah,
After Celine.
you'll have Celine Dion. Yeah,
Yeah,
Celine the Queen.
Celine the
You
Queen. We
know?
know it. Yo, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be so mad if you don't have a collection to show after all that, man.
A collection of what? What would you like to see?
Are you kidding me? Yo, of
No.
anything, man. Like this is what I'm saying. Like I left the definition of collection open. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be things of value.
Yeah.
If you just so happen to collect pigeon feathers, I want to see that collection.
I do not have a collection of pigeon feathers.
I don't mean specifically. Yo, you're killing me, man.
No, I don't have a collection of anything because
Okay.
I I don't I don't see it in that sense. And I don't
Yo,
and I don't see it in that sense.
Mr.
Um
Jillionaire. Mr.
yeah.
Jillionaire.
What?
There's got to be something you collect.
No, why would I collect anything?
You collect stories?
Do I collect stories? No, I appreciate stories, you know.
Do you collect vinyl? Do you collect
I
CDs?
collect that's what I'm saying. I collect a lot of things, right? But for me, there's no the appreciation is in each independent item,
Yo,
right?
but that's cool. That's cool
So
too. Like
I
we
mean,
could talk about a collection that
yeah,
pertains to your life. Like it
or
doesn't have to be.
we can talk about all of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we
Yeah,
could open it up to whatever you want to talk about.
we already have.
Okay, okay,
So
okay. I'm
no,
sorry, Yoda.
no. What I'm saying is, I will never be the type of person to to bring you into my home and say, well, this is my collection of books or plants or paintings or luxury watches or cars or analog cameras or vintage t-shirts or military apparel or sneakers, right?
Yo, you just
So,
mentioned everything that you collect right now.
but this is what I'm saying to you because I don't have that relationship with these items. That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
It is difficult for me, right?
Uh-huh.
And as a lover of things
Yes.
to create that type of independent relationship with something where I would say, well, this is my collection of GI Joes. I mean, I don't have a collection of GI Joes, you know, but I feel like I feel I and that's why I try to get some clarity at the very beginning
Okay.
because and that's why I keep reiterating that it's very important to define the language because for me, I do not look at it as the act of collecting. So I not buying more sneakers
Mm-hmm.
because I have a sneaker collection and I need to grow my sneaker collection.
Mm-hmm.
I buy
Mm-hmm.
more sneakers because I like looking at fucking sneakers on my feet. I'll be very honest with you.
Yeah, yo, of course.
So
And
I know. So what I'm
that's
saying
still
to
a
you is that
collection.
yeah, I'm not saying that it's not a collection. You know. I'm talking about how you would define it, and I'm talking about how I would define it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
what I'm saying is as an outsider to my creative process,
Mm-hmm.
you as a third party, right, would look at a grouping of things,
Mm-hmm.
come up with a similarity, and then say, oh, you have a nice book collection, or you have a nice plant collection, or you have a nice rum collection. You know, I have a partner who actually collects whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so but he collects whiskey, because he's a whiskey aficionado. Why can't you continue to care for every single piece of art you collect? Yeah, well, we just said we could do that every day. Every day. I love each and one of them little babies every day.
Oh,
What
Alex
I'm
is in the
saying,
building.
yeah. But he also collects whiskey because there's a like a stock market fit, right? And you can get
Yeah.
a good price fit, and then you sell it, whatever. Cool, that's cool. But to me, that doesn't necessarily mean that he has any type of emotional attachment to any of those things, you know. So for me, I wouldn't call myself a rum collector. You know, I just have a lot of fucking rum in my house, right? Different kinds. You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying, but what I think I'm trying to communicate to you is that by me calling a thing a collection,
Mm.
I'm not defining it as like as a as a monetary investment of
Uh-huh.
things. Like
Uh-huh.
whether you do or don't is not really like of interest to me. Like
Yeah.
if you choose to collect whiskey to flip it,
Yeah.
that's your business, right? If you choose to collect whiskey because you like the shape of the bottles or the font on the labels or whatever,
Mm.
that that's your business, right? But
But
what
what
I'm
if
at,
but what if you don't collect whiskey at all?
but yo, but we're getting into the like I'm saying these things as like an example. I'm just
Okay.
saying like so I think where we're sort of like misunderstanding each other is
Uh,
that I'm not when I ask about your collection,
yeah.
it's not in regards to even like I like what you said about like shoes. It's like when you buy
Mm.
shoes, it's not to add to the collection. It's just because you like seeing shoes on your feet.
Yeah.
But in virtue of you having that passion of seeing nice kicks on your feet, you have
Hmm.
a collection.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's like whether your intention is direct or indirect, the result is still within that definition of a collection in the most literal sense, a collection. So
Yeah.
so all I'm asking is is to
Go
know about what are some things in your collection that you love. You know what I mean? It's not a value
Um,
judgment about how much a thing is worth or how little it's worth or how rare it is or how common it is. It's not any of that.
yeah.
Because what I ultimately wanted to come down to in these conversations is actually how you maintaining a collection, the
Uh,
safekeeping of something, is
mm.
also contributing to who you are as an individual.
Oh, that's easy.
Well, then let's get
I,
to it.
I,
43
I,
minutes into the live.
I provide safekeeping for everything that's close to me.
Okay. Okay. I love that.
Yeah,
How do you
because it's cyclical.
how do you decide or how do you define what is close to you?
How do I define what is close to
Or how
me?
do you decide what you keep close to you and what you keep at arm's length?
It's trial and error. It's like people, you know,
Okay.
it's trial and error. I think that your appreciation and your understanding for physical objects evolves over time.
Okay.
So you can start off saying, it's like people's fashion sense. They start off dressing one way, and you dress one way in high school, and then you dress one way in college, and then you dress one way.
Yo,
And
real
then
talk, real talk. Did you ever wear bootcut jeans?
of course I wore bootcut jeans. Yeah, yeah. So so like you look back and you realize that you have kind of evolved, in your how you call it, your language and understanding of fashion has evolved over time. you
Yes.
know
Yes.
so your language and understanding of the things that are close to you and important to you will evolve over time as you learn their language. So then you get to a point where it's like, well, okay, cool, like I don't really need to be flashy anymore, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can get rid of some of the flashy stuff. Or I don't really need to be excessive anymore, so let me get rid of some of the excessive stuff. So you might get down to the point where, the language that you speak and the relationship that you have with the items that are close to you now.
Yeah.
I think books is a good physical example, right? So everybody
Hey, now we're talking.
everybody
See?
everybody has books. Don't do that. Everybody has books, okay?
Yeah.
So the fact that everybody has books does not necessarily make you a book collector, right?
Okay,
But
that's true.
your appreciation for books will evolve over time. So books will either go from a thing that you love and appreciate and you seek out actively and so on, to just kind of like, well, I used to read books in school, and then I wasn't in school anymore, so I don't read books anymore. You know? So in as that language that you have with books evolves, then you determine if those things are close to you or not.
Okay.
If they were saying. So
Yes.
at this point in my life, I will say, well, okay, these are the things that are important to me, whether it's my plans or my books, or these are, yeah, I mean, the other thing about it too is that it's all largely, I don't want to say superficial, but it's also just, it's very fleeting. So you're asking about collections. The reality of it is that, A, I do not consider myself a collector of anything. And
Okay.
B, regardless of the semantics surrounding the first statement, I am currently in a home in which I do not presently reside. I'm here temporarily, which means that I don't have access to any of my stuff. So the thing about it is that these physical things exist, but right now it's almost like these physical things exist to me in some type of alternate reality. And in the in the case of the plants and the cars, there's a proxy who can convey that sense of security for me. So if it's somebody, you have to go and start the car and drive around the block and make sure that all these white, indicator
They're
lights
still
come on.
running. Yeah.
Yeah, right. If it's from somebody who has to go and water the plants, every week, every 10 days, whatever it is, then there's somebody who can act by proxy to convey that feeling of safety that I bestow upon my belongings. Other than that, I'm not really in a position to say, yo, if you're in my neighborhood, can you go to my house and read some books? You know what I mean? So it's like these are things that may be important to me, but I can't necessarily bestow the same amount of deferred emotion onto them. I mean, I agree that some things require responsibility, but then it's also like, well, in a sense, I have some responsibility to the books to make sure they're read. There's a Japanese term for people who they collect too much books because they enjoy they buy too many books
They stack
because
it. It's just for the stacking.
they enjoy the aesthetic of books. I forget
Yes.
the name of it. I'll look it up now so we can share it with the audience. But
I know what you mean. I heard it before.
yeah,
Do you know it? Do you know the word? It's like when you just buy books because you like books.
I have it here. I Google this like once every 3 months.
I still feel like that qualifies as a collection.
100% it qualifies as a collection. I think that for me, I focus.
Oh, someone beat us to it. Tsundoku.
Yeah, Sundoku. Yeah, bigger Peter Park. Respect. I send you an article on it as well.
I saw it.
Yeah, it definitely qualifies as a collection. But for me, the difficult part of the relationship is that I do not necessarily see these things as a collection, other than they are all a collection of my things.
Okay.
You know?
Then that is it. And on that note, I feel like because we have about 10 minutes, how do you feel about this? Do you want to turn it to the audience, to the spectator? If they have
Yo,
questions, you feel good
I
about
have a
that?
I have a question.
You have a question. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. If you, well, how does this work? Like they ask a question and they get an
Yeah, I
answer?
mean, I just figured like maybe someone has a pressing matter about Tsundoku that they want to know about, and maybe you can
Okay,
answer it.
if you think you have a good question to ask, you also have to teach us a new word. Like how we just learned Sandoku. Teach us a new word, and then we will answer we'll answer any and all questions. There's
Moving
a
forward,
couple of
if you
mugs.
guys can use the question icon, you don't have to obviously, but it does make it easier for us to pin it. But Tahira has got a good question. Does a cupboard full of coffee mugs qualify as a collection?
It depends on the emotion that you bestow upon those coffee mugs.
The intention.
If you hold them close to you and they're there to you, then they're definitely a collection.
I
They're
agree.
they're a collection of loved ones that reside in your cupboard.
I agree.
Other than that, I mean, it's just yes, bunch of coffee mugs.
After like 50 minutes of trying to define what a collection was, you just gave it in like 30 seconds.
No, I know exactly what it is. I asked you to define the language.
But why you have to test me on that? We're
No, I'm
trying
not
to have a
testing you.
conversation.
No, it's not a test. I want to open up everyone to the idea of fully comprehending the subject. So
Right.
the subject of tonight's learning should not necessarily be, let's talk about Jillionaire's stupid shoe collection or some bullshit.
No,
But
no,
how
no.
do but how do I critically approach the idea of
Yo,
collecting?
but Mr. Jillionaire, you have to know
Yeah,
me, like as
yeah,
insofar as you know me.
yeah.
I'm not, my interest in asking you about your collection is not about, how rare is that item? How much is it worth?
Ah,
That's not my approach to life, period, right?
of course not.
Like
Why
you know that if I'm
why do you
asking you about your collection, I'm asking you about your intentionality behind things, right?
of
I'm asking
course.
you about the story behind it.
We just said the exact same thing. So where's the disconnect?
I'm sorry, it's the time difference. It's because you're in Trinidad.
Yeah, I apologize. But so far we have no new cases for the last month. So
For real.
it was a
We had, what is it
beneficial
today?
calculation.
458 new cases today. But Trinity Bellwoods is popping. You should see
That's a
Trinity Bellwoods. It's crazy.
that's a collection of cases.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's about that time, eh?
yeah. I mean, that's intense.
Yeah.
What does the city propose?
Yo, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but Trinity Bellwoods is live. It
Yeah,
is it's like Coachella right now.
okay.
Um,
Well, it's difficult to make step changes in human behavior. And you're talking about a 6 week period, a 2 month period. It's very difficult
mhm.
to enact those step changes in human behavior over such a short time period, and another half of it too is motivation. It comes back to language. If we're not communicating to people in our language, which they can understand, and we're not communicating to them why we want them to do something, and we're not motivating them to do it, then they
Mhm.
just, well, what am I staying inside for?
Yo, I agree. I agree.
You know?
It's like it's oftentimes you have to hit people in a way that resonates with them, right? Like that's
Yeah.
it's plain and simple. And if people don't find that it resonates with them, then frankly they just don't give a shit, right?
It has to resonate, but at the same time, it calls for human instruction calls for a very balanced approach. And the thing is that when you take an extreme approach and tell people don't go outside, the best thing to do is not go outside. Then they begin to take a skewed they do the risk analysis of potential situations becomes skewed
Mm-hmm.
away from, well, the best thing I can do is not go outside,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have a baseline understanding what's the worst thing I can do. So if I'm gonna have to go outside and touch somebody, I might as well go have a barbecue in my backyard with 50 people. And that's what happens. So that's why we have these type of adverse societal responses, because
Mm-hmm.
you only set you set a attention point so high that people don't even understand what the baseline is. So you just tell them, don't go outside. And then they're like, well, fuck that. Like, all right, cool. You told me that a month ago, and I'm
Yeah.
not sick. You know, I'm
Right,
not
right,
sick.
right.
And you haven't told me anything else beyond that to help me create buy into the situation. So
Hmm.
if I'm not sick and I'm broke and you want me to go to work, well, fuck it. I'm gonna go, play soccer at the Trinity Bellwoods.
Hmm. Hmm. Yo, we have 5 minutes left,
Yeah,
and I just wanted to make sure that you had some space because last week we had Ness on, and we
yeah.
and I only gave her room to say something in the last like 2 minutes, and we just didn't have enough time. So if I don't know, like if there's something you want to impart, some like well wishes, some wisdom, 5 minutes, like.
I think we've done an exceptional job. You've
You
been
know,
a
I, I,
phenomenal
I,
host.
I really have to say, Mr.
Yeah,
Jillionaire, I do appreciate you being here, and I love that we were able to go back and forth.
yeah,
I think the worst conversations are always the ones where everything is understood or seems to be understood, and then
yeah.
everyone is just kind of going, yeah, yeah, uh-huh, I agree, uh-huh, 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 and then it's like we are not unpacking anything.
I like clarity. People find it challenging because with lack of clarity comes assumptions. And sometimes people find it much easier to make assumptions or trust in their own assumption than to, question what is
Yes,
at hand.
yes,
Question your practice,
yes.
whatever that practice might be. Question your attitudes, whatever those attitudes might be. And I believe that, the more I force myself to contradict myself in order to avoid conforming to my own taste. Shout out to Sham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that even with a change
But
of taste with the
there's more texting coming.
oh,
There's
there's
another
more,
piece
there's more.
coming.
It's like a yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna type K in the reply. Sometimes it is
Nah,
possible to
nah,
love
it's
those
impossible.
imperfections
Yeah,
yo,
of
it's true
course.
though. It's true though.
Of
There's a
course.
place for them.
Yeah. And that's what it comes back to. It comes back to emotional attachment, right? So you'll have an emotional attachment to a specific object in a specific place in a specific time. So now do I look at the things that I collect across the variety of space and time, or do I set a parameter? And then how do I define what those parameters are? And then how do I define, how I'm going to conform to those parameters? And what am I going to do in the event that I do not conform? So do you then now have two shoe collections because you live in two different cities and you commute back and forth, two or
Mm.
three times a month? Or do you have one shoe collection that's spread across two cities? Do you have two car collections or two pen collections, etc., etc.? So time and space is also some type of apart from cultural, financial, and educational consideration,
Hmm.
we must now consider the questions of both time and space.
Yo, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
It came from you. You wrote it right here. I'm just reading it straight off of the computer.
Yeah, that's from the email I sent you, right? I was like, read this
Yeah,
part at the end of the IG live, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yo, I appreciate you being here so much, man. I feel like we
Thank you
could
so
have
much.
we could have done this for like another 3 hours. Should we just do this again like every week or what?
I mean, I'm down.
You're gonna have to re-download IG every week.
It's all good. This has been completely and exceptionally illuminating discussion. Much love to you, my brother. Have a great week. Yeah,
You
everybody
too.
have a great week. And we see you here. We see you back here at 9 p.m. on Sunday.
Yes.
I'll go download Instagram on my phone. Every evening at Sunday,
Are
8:55,
you
I
still doing
download
digital
Instagram.
beers? Are you still doing digital beers?
No, I stopped about 2 weeks ago.
Hmm. I
Just
noticed
because,
there was less. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I expect that at some point I will return to that format. In the interim, I am exploring other avenues, outdoor avenues, real life avenues, you know,
Asian avenues.
Asian avenues. Yeah, we don't really have much of a Chinatown in Trinidad, but we do have a large Chinese specifically Chinese community. So
Yo,
have a great
is this like the time
Thanksgiving.
of year that you would be in Toronto, or no? Not
You
yet.
know, I